Have you ever heard of a man who invented sociology, economics, and the modern study of history, all the way back in the 14th century? This is the story of Ibn Khaldun, a mind so brilliant that his ideas feel like they were written yesterday, not over 600 years ago. His life was an epic tale of knowledge, power, exile, and pure genius. Born in Tunis, North Africa, in 1332, Ibn Khaldun came from a prestigious family of scholars and statesmen who had fled Muslim Spain. From a young age, his path was set for greatness. He memorized the entire Quran and dived deep into Islamic law, logic, philosophy, and mathematics. By the time he was a teenager, his sharp intellect was already legendary. But his world was about to be shattered. At just 17, the Black Death swept through his city, claiming the lives of both his parents. This immense personal tragedy threw him into the harsh realities of adulthood and gave him a first-hand look at how catastrophic events can reshape an entire civilization. Just 3 years later, at the age of 20, Ibn Khaldun entered the turbulent world of North African politics. He served as a secretary, diplomat, and advisor, but the political scene was a snake pit of betrayal and shifting alliances. His brilliance made him a target. He soon moved to Fez, Morocco, only to be thrown into prison by jealous rivals for nearly 2 years. This experience wasn't a setback. It was a lesson. He saw firsthand how greed, tribal loyalty, and the thirst for power could build and destroy governments. These were the seeds of his greatest theories. After his release, he traveled to Granada in Muslim Spain, where he was welcomed as a respected scholar. He even went on a diplomatic mission to the Christian king of Castile, who was deeply impressed by his wisdom. But once again, political jealousy forced him to leave. After decades of navigating this political chaos, Ibn Khaldun had enough. In 1375, he retreated from the world, seeking solitude in a remote fortress in Algeria. It was here, in total isolation, that he began his life's work. At 45 years old, he started writing the Muqaddimah, or the Introduction, which was the opening volume of his massive world history. The Kitab al-Ibar. The Muqaddimah is nothing short of a masterpiece. It's not just a history book. It's a book that explains how history itself works. He introduced revolutionary ideas that wouldn't be seen in the West for centuries. He argued that society isn't random but follows predictable patterns. That's sociology. He explained the concepts of supply and demand, taxation and labor value. That's economics. He pioneered the idea that historians must critically analyze their sources, not just repeat stories. That's historiography. He broke down how dynasties rise, become powerful, grow weak, and inevitably collapse, a concept now known as the cycle of civilizations. The great historian Arnold Toynbee would later call it the greatest work of its kind ever created. After finishing this groundbreaking text, Ibn Khaldun returned to public life, moving to Cairo, the intellectual heart of the Muslim world. This became his golden era. He was appointed chief judge and became a celebrated professor at the legendary Al-Azhar University, with students flocking to his lectures. Even here, politics were unstable, and he was hired and fired multiple times. But his intellectual reputation was untouchable. Perhaps the most cinematic moment of his life came in 1401. The feared conqueror Timur, also known as Tamerlane, was laying siege to Damascus. Ibn Khaldun, then nearly 70, was lowered over the city walls in a basket to negotiate with him. Instead of being intimidated, Timur was fascinated. For weeks, the two men, the world's greatest conqueror and the world's greatest thinker, sat and discussed history, politics, and the nature of power. Ibn Khaldun's detailed notes from these conversations are a historical treasure. He returned to Cairo, where he spent his final years teaching and writing, finally passing away in 1406 at the age of 74. Today, Ibn Khaldun's influence is everywhere in sociology, economics, political science, and beyond. He was the historian who saw patterns when others saw chaos, the mind that explained civilization itself. His work remains as relevant as ever, proving that true genius is timeless. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of a historical giant, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.